Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. Today we're looking at one of these little 14-inch 3-blade Lakewood box fans. This one was sold to Kmart. I scored this at an estate sale for 10 bucks. These are great little fans. They blow a lot of air. This one's a 3-speed. Another one I have is a 2-speed. But this one is in need of some desperate attention. The motor's really sticky. It's filthy. It's missing screws for the grill. The grill is broken in a couple places. You can see over here this separation right there in the plastic, so that needs to be fixed. So we're going to fix this little guy up. You can see the motor's pretty caked. Hopefully it didn't overheat the windings, but we're going to go ahead and pop the grills off, and then we're going to clean the grills up and do some repairs on the grills, and then we'll pull the blades off, clean them, pull the motor apart. So this should be a fun little thing. Let's get the screws out and get the grills off first. Alright, so we got our grills off. We could see that this has not been stored in the best of locations. It's got a little surfaced rust, but nothing too bad. The motor was sticky earlier. It's been sitting out here in the sun for a bit. It's loosened up. It's already about 88 degrees out here. It's not even 8 in the morning yet. But there you go. There's your Lakewood electric corp here. '7163 motor, thermally protected. It runs. I know that it actually spins. God, look at this. Ugh. This motor's definitely gonna come apart. That's pretty gross. Of course, it might have been the spooge and dirt and everything that was still keeping the motor in, because all that was really oily. And I think the oil ports are up here somewhere. You got one right there and one back there, but it's going to get fully disassembled. Let's see if we can. I'm going to need 2 hands for this. I'm going to see if I can pop the blade hub off. Okay, so basically I just used 2 screwdrivers and pry it from equal and opposite ends. You can see the run out there. We definitely need some new thrust washers in this thing. Blades are filthy. Alrighty. So let's get to cleaning. I may rough this up in here just enough to spray down some clear sealant or something to keep it from rusting worse, or I may not. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to cleaning the grills. So for most of this stuff I just use oven cleaner. You can get that at any grocery store. You could also use engine degreaser. You could use foamy engine bright. Brake cleaner works too, but oven cleaner is cheap and everywhere. So I basically just spray both sides, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then hose it off. So let's just take one last look at how gross this is, and then we'll clean them up, and you get to see how good it looks afterwards. Same with the blades here. The blades are pretty funkadelic there. Look at that piece of goodness just hanging there. Oh yeah. All right. So let me spray these things down. All right, so here they are, all coated up. And I'm going to come back here in about 10 minutes. And then we're just going to literally hose them off. And then I'll show you the difference, because they clean up pretty well this way. Alright, well there everything is all cleaned up. You see it's pretty much a world of difference. Just spray it, let it sit, wash it off, dry it off. So that part's done. I'm just going to clean the housing real quick with some Windex and paper towels. Then we'll focus on repairing the grills and servicing the motor. And then we should have a pretty kick-ass little fan. Okay, so we're going to see if we can fix up these grills a little bit. And the way that I usually do this when they separate is usually fill the crack with an epoxy or something like that. Problem with these is the split's pretty bad. As you can see the light. You can see the light shine all the way through. It's pretty ugly. Now I'm not really concerned about cosmetics so much as I am functionality. So I'm more concerned about these staying together than I am looking pretty. Especially consider how badly yellow they are. So what I'm going to do, I have a worn solder tip which needs to be changed out. But before I do that, I'm actually going to take my soldering iron and I'm going to fuse the spots together. And I'm just liquefying the plastic here in the crack and then pushing the plastic back in. Now granted, all this is for is really to hold this together while I put a layer of epoxy on it. It's not a permanent hold. And this will not hold the grill together over time. This will just fail again. And if I sound muffled, it's because I'm wearing a respirator, because you don't want to breathe these fumes. You don't want to breathe these fumes. It's toxic. Don't do it. I got fans running as you can hear, the evacuators, and you don't want to breathe this stuff. It's nasty. If you don't have that system, do it outdoors. But we're just going to fuse these spots together here. All the little cracks. Let's see if there's any other ones on here. Yep, we got one forming up here. On this one. Yeah, you don't ever want to breathe these burning plastics. Flip this over. Let's see if any of the other sides need it. Got this little crack here. Alright, there's grill number one. There's grill number two. This one's broken in two places too. There's this over here. This one's pretty far down. It actually starts over here. Now, after you've done with the epoxy, you could sand and paint this if you wanted it to be pretty looking. But as I mentioned before, I'm only concerned about this functioning because this is just going to be another shop fan. My nicer looking one's already in the house. Just make sure you stay lined up when you're doing this, because as you melt the plastic, it's going to want to move. Flip this over. This side's split pretty bad. I wouldn't do this with a fresh solder tip. I'd use an old crummy tip because I'm going to change this one. Or if you have a crappy old cheap iron, cheap soldering iron you're willing to sacrifice for this purpose, this is a good method to save these grills. And again, this is only to prep it. We're going to put epoxy around these cracks on both sides so that they'll hold. Let's see, this little crack here could use some mending there. And this one here is starting to separate. It hasn't cracked all the way through yet. But, oh no, we got separation there. I take that back. Again, kids, if you're just joining us, don't do this in an enclosed area. Melting this plastic puts off very toxic fumes. Wear a respirator. Your little N95 ain't going to do it. And we're getting there. Flip this one over. And I'll show you what we do after we get it. After the cracks get all mended together. And again, if you care about appearances, after the epoxy sets, you can sand it and paint it. Sand and paint. But right now, this is a shop fan. All I care about is the grill's holding together, not rattling like crazy, and working. Okay, so that's, you can see my spots here. So let's mix up some epoxy. I'm going to wait for the room to clear out a little bit, then I can take this respirator off. Okay, so the thing of choice we're going to use here today is the Bob Smith Industries 5-minute quick cure. This is also sold under the Parts Express house brand, so you can buy it through them, or you can buy it on Amazon, whichever. It's the same stuff, but it's a good, strong, yet somewhat flexible epoxy, which is important because if it's hard and brittle, it's just going to crack again. You want it to be able to flex a little bit with the grills. So all you really do is just mix equal parts and apply. I just used the butt of a Q-tip. I'm just going to use this old piece of cardstock. I had an old part marked in. And I got a couple of Q-tips here. And I just break the heads off of them. So this is not only your mixing stick, but it's also your applicator. You can use any tool you want, so long as it satisfies the need. So I'm just going to put quarter size amounts here, and then we'll mix it all together. It should be enough for what I need, but we'll see. And their hardener stuff is thicker than the epoxy stuff, so then I'm just going to mix it all together here. got a nice big blob of it. All right, so now I'm gonna take my drill and I'm gonna push this stuff into the fused area that I created. Taking care to leave a screw hole there, that's a good idea. And you got to work quick because this stuff will harden literally in 5 minutes. And the excess, we're just going to go back to the mixing spot here. Push this into where I need it. I may have to mix up some more because this may harden before I actually get finished with this grill. Or I may run out, one of the two. Both of which can happen. And again, I'm just pushing it into the areas that I fused together. And again, this method isn't pretty, but it will make the grill hold together and last. Yep, I'm going to need to mix up some more because I don't think I have enough here. I have just enough for this stuff here. Yep, I need to do the other side. So let's go ahead and mix up some more. Definitely do a bigger dollop this time. We'll do a half dollar size. Okie dokie. Let's flip this over. We got to do this side. Again, just shoving it into the spot that we fused together. And I leave a film on the edge and blend it all in because the strength is really in surface area. The more surface area you can cover with it, the stronger it'll be. Alright, so that's, hang on here, I got two more spots up here. Let's do this one here, front and back, punch the screw hole through. This one here, front and back. Alright, that's grill number one. Let's do grill number two here before this all hardens. Okay, do the opposite side. Go back and name that church tune. Let's see how many of you know it. If you grew up in the Lutheran church, you probably know it. This every day at 9 o'clock you get a free hymn with your bell chimes. Alright, and we got one left over here, which is good. I'm starting to harden up. Just going to do this. Okay. Cover this guy. front and back. So again, not pretty, but this will definitely, making sure I got all the spot. Nope, I missed one spot here, this little spot here on the corner. Okay. I know I keep diving off the camera here. I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to move around my work. Some people move the work around them. Other people just move themselves around the work. I'm the latter. Okay, so both grills, those are just going to set up and cure. And while all that's happening, the next thing we want to do is focus on servicing the motor. So let's get the motor up here. Alright, so here's our motor. I'm not going to be able to get total amounts of freedom here, but we should be able to get it out of here and get it apart at least. Let's see, you are not a 5/16, you're slightly bigger. And of course, all the tools that I want are missing. So we're just going to go with the good old-fashioned duckbills, assuming this will cooperate. And it does. All right. I'm just going to set those in the case here. That one wants to escape. Okay, here comes the fun part. We'll get this out of here. And we have to bust these clips off. These are always fun. I'm trying to remember how to do this without injuring the poor motor. Let's see, we go from the front. I think we go from the front. Nope, that doesn't want to budge. Yeah, it looks like there's a lip on the front side, so in theory I should be able to go from the front. There we go. Just takes a bit of effort. It's going to be fun getting those on. There's your little cord guard. We can put that back later. Just gives us a little more freedom. Ah, freedom. Something we all need, but aren't getting. Okay. There's always going to be one that's going to fight you. Here we go. All right, now that the clips are off, I should be able to separate the front here. Do a little pry motion. There we go. So there's your rotor and everything. Oh, this is saturated. Ugh. Yummy. There's oil just all over the inside of this thing. Well, I guess that means they oiled it. So that's okay. Well, let me set something underneath here. Take some of the weight off of the wires. Let's see if I can clear off this bunch of garbage here. Just do a very light scrape so I can get this off without scarring the bearing. And I'm scraping this at a very steep angle to loosen it. And let me grab a, let's see, that's what I'm looking for. Some isopropanol to clean the rest of the grease off, and then we'll pull the shaft out of the bearing. So far it doesn't look too bad. Definitely need to insert thrust washers though, because that's pretty bad. We had a lot of run out. Yeah, it just comes right off. Okay. I can see why they kept oiling it, because the oil packing, if you can see that, is pretty well gone. So I will pack this with oil as I can, but we may also use some high temperature lithium grease, really thin high temp lithium grease on the shaft, just to keep it well lubricated. I'm not sure what can't really tell what the back side looks like. It looks okay though. Looks like all the packing's in there, so I can just leave that one be. Let me see if I can locate some thrust washers, because we definitely need to fix that problem. Okay, so I got some, you can see the white things in there, those are my thrust washers. That should help take care of the nasty play problem we had. Let's see here. So now I'm just going to grab my bottle of zoom-spout here. Good stuff. That's really cheap. Although the MO98 variant, in my opinion, is the best for motors, this isn't half bad either. But basically what it is non-detergent turbine oil. And I'm just going to stick the straw in here and flood this until the packing absorbs all the oil, which it seems to be doing. That's good. And then I'm going to put this in here. That's nice and happy. And then what we'll do, let's clean out this front bearing a little better. This was pretty well oiled. There isn't a lot of dirt coming off of here. The back bearing I messed with, but there wasn't any dirt out of there either. So I'm going to oil this, and we'll put as much oil in here as it'll absorb. There's not a lot of material left though. But then I think what I'll do is I'll put a high temperature lithium on that, on the shaft there. Move this out the way right here, so that it'll be happier. So I'm going to get the Lucas oil, white lithium, and we're going to let's get a clean Q-tip. We're just going to apply it here. Just put it on the whole shaft actually, since it'll make it easier to go back on. Okie dokie. This has to go up. Gotta fit that back in. Now here's the fun part. This is where we have to put all the clips back in. Yeah, this is not going to be fun. Let's see, because I don't really have a tool to do this. Now I had another set. Let's see if I can walk these in with a set of pliers. Probably not, but I'm going to try. Nope, doesn't want to do that. I may just have to tap them in with a hammer. Not my favorite thing to do, but let's grab the hammer. A couple of love taps. Trying not to bust my finger off, or thumb. There we go, there's one clip. Let's do the opposite side. There's two. Yeah, don't go running away on me. Here comes three. And then finally, gotta untangle this mess that I'm tangling up here. We'll do number 4. All right. Now we'll stick this back in here. Oh yeah, I gotta rechannel all these wires back into their little cubbies. And then put the guard on here. There we go. That's in place. Spin this around, put this back together. Go here. Making sure I was still recording. I couldn't have remembered whether I had stopped recording or not. That would have been awkward. And we'll tighten these down. Try to clean up this housing a little bit more. Let's get a shop towel. Good old-fashioned Windex usually breaks it up pretty well. Well, maybe that's just as good as it's getting. This is pretty baked on stuff. And I'm not going to go spray an oven cleaner inside of the motor because I don't know what it'll do to the enamel and the wires. So that's just going to have to be how it is. So now that we got that part finished, let's pop the blades back on. Our nice clean, I would say white, but it's badly yellowed due to age and oxidation. First I'm going to grab the motor shaft and spin it around in a circle to seat the bearing. Some nice spin down there. Let's get the remainder of the grease off there so it doesn't become a problem for the blades, since the blades are a force fit. We got rid of most of our play. There's only a tiny little bit of play there, like maybe a millimeter or two. And I'm just going to push that on. Oh yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, last thing we'll do is plug it in and give it a quick test. Let me back the camera up a little bit here. That way we don't have to endure the wind noise as much. Start on low. We'll go to medium. And then we'll go to high. For a tiny fan, this thing moves a lot of air. why I like them. And the little pops are just transients being created on the AC line by the changes in the motor. See how long it takes to spin down. It's probably a good long time. Oh yeah, that motor's in good shape. Gradual, slow to a stop. That is beautiful. Okie dokie. So we're good with this. Now it's just a matter of putting it back together, really. And let's see, I got the front rails here. Got my bag of screws, and I did find some other crummy screws for the back grill since we were missing some screws. So we should have enough screws to put both grills on. And you never want to put these on tight because you'll just crack the plastic. Just snug them down. You don't tighten them. Just enough for the thing to stop rattling. And yeah, we are going to check for the rattle because that's a problem. And the cabinet's slightly warped too because I'm pretty sure it was dropped. But minute problems. This is going to be a workhorse. This isn't going to be a show queen. So I'm really just concerned about it working. We'll snug these down just enough. Okay, let's turn this around. I'm going to have to feed the plug through the back grill. Okay. I think I got all but maybe one or two screws. Might be short on a screw. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to be short a screw. Thought I had enough of these grill screws floating around. They all seem to get real rusty really easy. Let me look in my collection of stuff real quick and see if I can find a comparable thing to stick in there. There we go. That's pretty close. That should work. Only drawback is it's a flathead. But like I said, as long as it keeps it from buzzing and rattling, that's all I care about. Okay, let's plug it back in again and see how it behaves now that it's fully reassembled. rattles, that's good. Yeah, buddy. Minimal vibration. Plastic blades are never perfect. Alright, I think this sucker's done. Just gonna wait for that epic spin down. Pretty cool. Man, that's good. That's just really good. No abrupt stop, no drag. Ugh, just keeps getting better. We'll break this thing in for a day and then see how it runs. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the little service video on this fan. Like I said, if you can pick one of these up, these were great. They're made by Lakewood. You would see them under the Lakewood brand or the Kmart brand. I'm not sure what other department stores sold them, but they're really good workhorses once you clean them up and oil them. In this case, we had to fix the grills too. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. More stuff to come.